All right, it's time for the video you've all been waiting for, and it's actually the final video where we will be looking like this, where it's Dalton on one side of the screen, I'm on the other side of the screen. Dalton will be in studio very, very soon. Also, Dalton, the final video in your 20s, man, because you were turning 30 this weekend, man. So big video all around, and also it's the biggest video of the season, Dalton. It is our official college football playoff predictions. Full 12-team playoff in the first year of the 12-team era. So what we're going to do here is go over our entire college football playoff field and also go over all of the matchups in the college football playoff and predict all the matchups all the way through the national title game. So a lot to go over right now, Dawn. But first, man, I'm kind of a early happy birthday to you, man. And this is kind of a great way to start off, man.
I appreciate it big time. We'll see if I don't go into our game previews this year with all the gray hair after turning 30. I don't know how all that works. So we'll see if everything starts breaking down for me. But oh no, it's gonna be a ton of fun this year, and this is the best part of it, right? We get 12 big time teams getting to play each other. We get the best part's going to be the first round where there's games in home stadiums instead of neutral sites. That's going to be a wild scene that I don't think fans are even ready for yet, but it's about to be a really fun season.
I just thought of this right now, Dawn. We've been thinking about, so we're lucky enough at PFF to be able to go to a lot of games getting credentialed for. Dude, we have to go to a first-round playoff game. I just thought about it right now. We have to. Like, the atmosphere.
I already know you're going to be begging for Penn State if they get a home game. I already know it.
Oh, that is a guarantee, dude. That will be an absolute lock if we're doing that. But, yeah, man, I love that. So, yeah, what we're going to do here, Dawn, after we go over the playoff, we're going to pick out the first-round game that we are going to if it ends up the way we're doing right now. So we'll do that as part of our prediction as well. But first off, Dawn, I'll let the old man go first here. What is your official 12-team college football playoff field?
So here we go. You start with the 4 conference champions. I've got Georgia running the table through the regular season and the conference title game. They'll be the number 1 team. Ohio State from the Big Ten, number 2. Arizona from the Big 12, 3. And Clemson, my ACC champ, at number 4. Number 5 is the team that I really believe is the next best team out of that top 4, and that's the Oregon Ducks. 6 is Miami, who gets narrowly edged by Clemson in the ACC title game. 7 is Notre Dame, and I think there's a chance that Notre Dame could be higher than this. They can't be any higher than 5, but their schedule is pretty favorable, and they've got a top 3 defense. I'm going to take them losing 1 game instead of going undefeated, but still at number 7. Then we get to the SEC at 8 and 9 with Alabama and Ole Miss. Penn State is my 3rd team from the Big Ten at number 10. And Missouri is my last at-large team at number 11, a little bit lower. I think it's possible they could go undefeated with their schedule if they win a couple of big games, but a really easy schedule. I think a good road to go 11-1. And then my group of 5 team at number 12 is the American champion Memphis Tigers.
All right, I love it. My college football playoff field, same as you at number 1, is at the Georgia Bulldogs. I got a bracket, as you can see right there. Number 2 is Ohio State for me, the Big Ten champion. Number 3 is Miami, the ACC champion, so not Clemson like Dalton was saying. I have Miami at number 3. Arizona, I have winning the Big 12 at number 4. My number 5 team is the Oregon Ducks. I think they're the best non-champion. I think they're pretty clearly a top 3 team in college football as well, so they're number 5 for me. I got Ole Miss at number 6, losing to Georgia in the SEC title game. Texas at number 7. Alabama at number 8. I have Notre Dame at number 9. Penn State at number 10. Missouri at number 11. Excuse me. And finally, Liberty running the table once again, going undefeated in the regular season, winning Conference USA, and securing the Group of 5 playoff spot. So once again, for the second straight year, Liberty will be the Group of 5 representative in a New Year's 6 bowl game, or at least in the conference playoff, I should say. So Liberty comes in at number 12. So Dolan, now what we're going to do is look at the first round playoff games that we both predict right now and give our winners for each of those first round playoff games. And also, Dolan, tell me which game you and I will be going to out of your first round playoff games.
So I'll start with the 5-12 matchup, and that's Memphis having to go all the way out to Eugene and play Oregon. But Oregon, like you mentioned, is one of the best teams in the country. I think they take care of business. Down in Miami, where they'll play Luther Burden in Missouri, I'm taking the upset. I will take Missouri to make the final 8 and beat the upstart Hurricanes. Notre Dame, Penn State in the 7-10 matchup, two great defenses. I think this would be the game. It's the closest one by far. I think this would be the game that we end up at just because the Penn State Nittany Lions are in it, but I'll take Notre Dame over Penn State. And then we've got a great SEC matchup. And Ole Miss and Alabama actually aren't playing in the regular season, and this could be seeded. The seeding could be flipped. This was really the hardest part of it with who they're playing, and they're not playing each other. But I'll actually take Ole Miss to go into Tuscaloosa and win at Alabama.
What a win that would be for Lane Kiffin, man. And listen, I'm happy that I'm grateful that you were picking the Penn State game for us to go to. But, man, I think that Miami-Missouri game is a high-flying game, too. That'd be a lot of fun. That Ole Miss-Alabama game is a lot of fun as well. So if you want to go to any of those other ones, man, I'd be down for that as well. I wouldn't put up too much of a fight for that. But let's go to my first-round playoff matchups right now. I have Oregon beating Liberty in the first round pretty clearly. Actually, Dalton, same exact matchup as the Fiesta Bowl last year. As we remember last year, Oregon clapped Liberty in that Fiesta Bowl. So I think it'll be, unfortunately for the Flames, kind of a similar story this upcoming season. I got Ole Miss beating Missouri, the number 6 versus 11 matchup as well. I have to see if they are playing it this year. I got to look at that schedule real quick. And I wonder, Dawn, if that kind of goes into it at all. I wonder if the playoff committee will say, hey, we don't want to get a repeat of matchup, so we're going to try to get something else. So I wonder if that's a thing. I'm looking at Ole Miss's schedule right now. They do not play Missouri, so that will be the first time they match up this year. That'll be a great high-flying game as well. I got Texas, unfortunately, beating my Nittany Lions in that game. And then I have not really an upset, but I have the number 9 seed Notre Dame beating number 8 Alabama. Once again, Alabama losing in Tuscaloosa in that first-round playoff game, which Alabama fans won't be happy with Kalen DeBoer if that happens, for both of us, if that ends up happening. So I got Oregon, Ole Miss, Texas, and Notre Dame advancing to the quarterfinal round of the college football playoff. But Dawn, what about the quarterfinal round? Who do you think is going to end up winning those games?
Well, this is an unfortunate part of the seeding here for Ole Miss, but it's entirely possible that they could be playing Georgia for a third time, and that's the way I have it. Georgia will be beating Ole Miss on their way to the semifinals. It'll probably be a great game, but this is the one hurdle that Ole Miss, I don't think they can get over. A rematch of a great game from 2023 in the 2-7 matchup, Ohio State over Notre Dame. Both great defenses. I trust Ohio State's offense and running game a little bit more than Notre Dame. I'll take the Buckeyes to get in. Great matchup. I just love that. I don't think I did this intentionally, but we've got the two best receivers in the country in the 3 versus 11 matchup. Luther Burden against Tetsuo McMillan. Missouri versus Arizona. I'm taking Arizona in what should be a shootout and a fantastic game. And then I'm taking Oregon over Clemson. I do think Oregon's one of the 4 best teams in the country. Clemson's got a great defense, but Oregon's offense wins the day. Those are my 4 that are getting into the semis.
So what game were you going to in that one, Dawn, if we're going to the quarterfinals as well?
Oh, see, those are the ones, though, that are they're in the bowl sites now, right? They're neutral.
Yes.
So, I mean, if I had to pick, honestly, just because I love the two guys at receiver, I'd probably go to Arizona, Missouri.
Okay.
It's just, I have to see those two guys on the same field.
I actually just realized right now I did not say what game we'd be going to for my first round matchup. I think Texas-Penn State is a pretty good one. Texas-Penn State in Austin, we'll do that, just because it's my Nittany Lions as well. But my quarterfinal matchups, I got Georgia taking down Notre Dame. I think it'll be a great defensive game. I think Georgia, Carson Beck will do just enough to get them over the hump there. I think Ohio State beats Texas. That'll be a really fun Quinn Ewers game, Dawn. Quinn Ewers, formerly at Ohio State, then transferred to Texas. I think that Ohio State will get a little bit of revenge on him for transferring out of there, and Will Howard will lead the Buckeyes to a win over Texas. I have Ole Miss beating number 3 Miami. I think the Rebels are a top 5 team in the country. I think Miami's more of a top 15 team in the country. It just happens to be the seeding of the college football playoff. So I think Ole Miss ultimately wins that game. And I got Oregon beating Arizona as well. I think Oregon is, like I said, the 3rd best team in the country. I think Arizona's more of a top 15 team. So I got Oregon and Ole Miss pulling off the upsets in terms of seeding, and then Georgia and Ohio State advancing as well. Out of those games, Dawn, I'm trying to think what would be the hot ones to go to. Oregon, Arizona would be a lot of fun. Ole Miss, Miami would be a lot of fun, too. I think those are the 2 I probably want to go to, but I think either of those would be outstanding, man. All right, Dawn, now we're down to the final 4. Who is making it to the national title game for you?
The 2 teams I think we've been looking at all along. And first, look, if we get this matchup of Georgia versus Oregon for a national title spot, it's just incredible. When you talk about our 2 Heisman picks in Dylan Gabriel and Carson Beck, and 2 high-flying offenses, and whoever has a better defense, I do think Georgia is just a tad better than Oregon, but that's going to be a fabulous game. And then I'll take Ohio State over Arizona. And the big difference in that game for me, Arizona's run defense is the one I think the one weakness there, and we could see that be a weakness throughout the Big 12, but you've got Quinshon Judkins, you got Travion Henderson. I think it's a bit of a mismatch for Arizona. I'll take Georgia and Ohio State, my top 2 teams.
Wow. Okay. I have the same ones as you. I have Georgia beating number 5 Oregon, same matchup as you as well. I think that's going to be an unbelievable game. I think 2 great offenses going head-to-head. Maybe the 2 Heisman Trophy finalists, like the winner and runner-up going head-to-head. I had Dylan Gabriel winning the Heisman Trophy from Oregon. You had Carson Beck winning the Heisman Trophy from Georgia. So maybe the 2 Heisman guys at the end too. Georgia beats Oregon for me. And I have Ohio State beating Ole Miss as well. I think those are the 2 matchups we have. I think those are 2 unbelievable matchups. Those are actually on my top 4 teams in college football as well. So I think Georgia ultimately beats Oregon. I think Ohio State ultimately beats Ole Miss to make a Georgia-Ohio State national title game for both of us, Dalton. So tell me right now, who is your pick to win the national championship in 2024?
I think the Georgia Bulldogs are on their revenge tour. I think they felt snubbed being outside the top 4 last year based off of one loss to a really good Alabama team. I think Kirby Smart's going to have these guys ready to play. I think Carson Beck's winning the Heisman. I think we're getting back to another year of the Georgia Bulldogs' dominance. I think if there's anyone equipped to handle Ohio State's defense, it's Carson Beck. I love this Ohio State defense. I don't think it's quite as good as Michigan's defense last year to be able to carry them all the way to a national title. I think Georgia just finds a way to beat them, and Beck is the star of the show. Give me the Georgia Bulldogs on their revenge tour, 2024 national champions.
Wow. Okay. So Georgia, for the 3rd time in 4 years, Dalton says is going to win the national title. I'm going the opposite. I'm taking Ohio State over Georgia to win the national championship this year. I think Ohio State roster-wise is the best in the country, maybe the best defense in college football, the best D-line in the country in my opinion, the best secondary in the country in my opinion, a really good linebacker unit as well. And then offensively, you have by far the best backfield in college football in Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson, an elite receiving core led by Emeka Egbuka, and who I think will be an instant superstar in Jeremiah Smith, a true freshman there. And then Will Howard, I think, will do enough to win enough games for Ohio State and get over the hump and ultimately win a national title. And Chip Kelly drawing up plays too. I'm a huge fan of that. That old line's pretty good too. I don't see a true weakness on either of these teams, honestly. But I think Ohio State gets a slight edge over Georgia for me right now. So I got Ohio State beating Georgia for the 2024 national championship. So Dawn has Georgia beating Ohio State. I have Ohio State beating Georgia. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about our college football playoff predictions. Of course, this is not going to be right at the end of the year. We want to know what your picks are to go into next year as well. And it's going to be really fun looking back on this, Dawn, and see how wrong we are for a lot of this. But I feel pretty good, Dawn. I feel pretty good. I'm going to go 12 for 12 this year. I think I'm going to get all 12 college football playoff teams. I don't know how you're feeling about this right now, but, man, it's going to be an unbelievable year of college football that we're about to get into.
I think it'll probably settle in somewhere between 6 and 8 for me at the end of the day. And there's some picks that felt impossible to make, right? Like how many SEC teams, which Big 12 teams. The Big 12 is going to be absolute chaos every week, right? Is Miami actually going to fulfill like their potential and run through the ACC? And we think they're the most talented team. And then honestly, even all the way down to the group of 5 pick, there's 6, 7, 8, 9 teams who you can make a legitimate case for that last spot. It's going to be such a fun year of college football the way that it's set up now. And I just like that in the last few weeks, we're going to see somewhere between 25 and 35 teams still relevant at, with 3-4 weeks to go, as opposed to, we got to the last 3 weeks last year and it was down to like 8, right? Every game is going to matter. It's going to be so much fun. And again, that first round in home stadiums is going to be just awesome.
I can't wait for that, man. And it's going to be an unbelievable year of college football, man, overall. And it's going to be an unreal season. And Dalton, you're coming in studio now, starting as of recording next week. This will actually be, you'll be in Cincinnati by the time this probably releases next week. But starting then, man, we're going to be doing in-studio previews for all the biggest games for every single week. So make sure you guys subscribe to that because we can't wait to do that. And a ton of other stuff, too, actually. Sunday live show is coming as well. We're going to go over the grades from the day before, the biggest storylines from the day before of college football as well, and a bunch of other miscellaneous videos, Heisman rankings, college football playoff predictions going through the season as well. A lot of stuff coming this upcoming season. This is what we got for our 2024 college football playoff predictions. Stay tuned for a lot more coming very, very soon.